Whether you're in the market to buy a new home or you already own one, getting a property valuation can be a really useful tool. Property valuations give you a rough idea of how much you can expect to be spending to purchase a property somewhere new. And for existing property owners, it can help you understand what the rough value of your property is worth and how the value of your property has changed over time to give you a better understanding of your equity position. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing how banks value properties and what the different types of valuations that can be carried out on a property are. There are three very common types of property valuations. These include bank valuations, automated price estimates, and appraisal and privately ordered valuations. And I'm going to go through each one briefly right now. Starting with bank valuations. So banks use these to determine the LVR, or the loan to value ratio, for a home loan application, which in turn roughly determines the amount of money that a bank would be willing to lend you, the buyer, when you go through this process. I wouldn't rely on a bank valuation for anything other than mortgage related purposes. It is a tool used to determine how much you're roughly going to have to borrow to purchase a house. I have made a video on LVR, the loan to value ratio, and I have linked it in the description below if you want to check that out after to learn a little bit more about that topic. Moving on to automated price estimates. So this type of valuation of a property is used to quickly determine the market value of a property within a specific suburb. These can be really useful when you're looking in specific suburbs but don't really know what the market value of these properties are. They also in turn could give you some insight into what the value of your property that you're currently living in is worth as well if you were intending to potentially sell down the line. And just as a note, they are quite different to bank valuations as these estimates are not used as part of the home loan application process. So finally, appraisals and privately ordered valuations. Homeowners and people who are planning to sell their homes can use real estate agents or banks to do an appraisal of your home to get a rough estimated value of what it's worth. In turn, you can also use what's called a valuer, which is a real life profession where they will come and do a privately ordered valuation of your home. They use their expertise to determine the rough estimated value of that property to give you the best indication possible of what it's worth. So typically the things that they will take into consideration when valuing your property varies, and it varies on a very wide range of criteria. These things include things like how big the land is, so the size of your entire block, how big the house is on the block, so the living space, the square meterage of the actual house sitting on the block, what types of rooms are in the house, so how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, does it have a 2-car garage, does it have a 1-car garage, fixtures and fittings, so things that are permanently fixed to the house like your ceiling fans or TV mounts, wall mounts, anything like that. They consider things like areas of improvement as well, like where a pool could be incorporated into the house or an extension could be completed. One of the things that definitely drives up the price of houses is where it's located, so suburbs, busy streets. Is it in a really populated, dense area, or is it really remote? They look at the condition of the property on it, so are the walls crumbling, is the house 100 years old? And they also look for ease of access. So can you reverse a trailer all the way to the end of the house? Is there quick, easy access down both sides of the house? Outside of the parameters of the actual property, they look at recent sales in the area to determine an average value of the actual area and how much houses are going for in that local area. And then on top of that, they look at council zoning, things like, can you split the property into two and subdivide? Can you add massive extensions on the back, or are there rules and restrictions that would stop you from doing that? So by collating all this information and grabbing all this data and putting it into their calculator, I'm sure you can see very quickly that they take a lot into consideration when valuing a property. And so they should. There are a lot of factors which would determine the value of a property. As mentioned earlier, if you want a second opinion or you want multiple valuations, that's definitely possible. And the way to go about doing this would be to approach real estate agents or bankers at first to get an idea of the value. If they somewhat align, then you're probably going to be in the right ballpark, because they would definitely use a lot of the same resources as a private valuer would anyway. Overall, if you are planning to buy or sell a house in a specific area that you're not overly familiar with, it's probably going to be in your best interest to get a valuation on the property, because it will give you an indication, or a strong indication, of how much you can be expected to be buying for or selling your property for in your area when the time comes for you to take those steps. Overall, I hope you learned something in today's video, and I hope that it was insightful. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and as always, I will see you in the next one.